Hello everyone and welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Gavin Hatch. This week we're going to hop around some of the Walt Disney World resorts. Now on my way to those resorts, I drove by Disney Springs and was really surprised of how much progress they've made on the parking structures and other things around the streets there. I love the look of these pedestrian bridges, and it's something that makes it a lot safer for guests that are coming in and out of Disney Springs that are staying at those resorts right there in the Disney Springs area. For so many years, it's been dangerous for guests to walk across those streets, and with the way the traffic is there, it's just something that is very much needed, and I'm glad it's finally completed. Now, something else that's near completion is the second parking structure that's over in the Disney Springs Marketplace section. And you can see it's really going up pretty quickly now and should be done probably within 2 or 3 months. And the other one down the street, the orange parking structure, is really great. I love how that turned out, and now they're putting some finishing touches on there. As you can see, there's like plants on the walls here of the outside of the parking structure. I think that looks so cool, and they have a lot of new foliage all around the streets there, so it's really odd to finally see plants and grass and trees where there has been just nothing but dirt and concrete for so many years as construction has been going on. So this whole area is looking great. There are signs being put up on the streets there, directional signs. So the day I was driving down the street, we saw those being put in place. So there's going to be a lot of new stuff in that area, and it is near completion. I cannot wait. It should be done hopefully by this summer. Our first stop is going to be Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Now this is a really cool value resort that opened up in May of 2012, but has a very interesting background to it and how it was created. Now the Pop Century Resort is right across the lake and right next to the Art of Animation. But originally, Pop Century was supposed to have 2 sections. The first section is the classic years, which is what is open today, and that is themed to the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. But the other section, which is going to be on the other side of the lake, where Art of Animation is, was going to be called the Legendary Years. The Legendary Years would be based on the 1900s, the 1910s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. But after 9/11, the construction on the Classic Years section was delayed, and then the construction on Legendary Years completely stopped, even though they had already built 2 full buildings and laid down groundwork for a 3rd building, as well as the whole lobby was also completed. The original Legendary Years buildings were converted into new construction for the Art of Animation. The Legendary Hall was revamped as the Animation Hall, and the 1940s building now houses the Little Mermaid rooms. Guests may notice that the Little Mermaid rooms are different from the other areas of the resort. For one, the building features exterior corridors, while others have hallways. Also, this is the only building that has standard rooms. Because the rooms and corridors were already constructed, Disney left the building as is, with the exceptions of the decor and a few upgrades. And something that's kind of cool is the bridge that connects the Pop Century Resort to Art of Animation was originally called the Generation Gap, and I think that was really cool, but it is no longer referred to as that. The Art of Animation is such a cool hotel. I love the food that they serve there in their food court, and it's really colorful, it's really open, it makes for some great photos. Patrick and I actually filmed part of our intro there for Florida e-ticket. Now leaving Art of Animation, headed towards the Magic Kingdom Resort area, we took World Drive. And driving by Epcot, you can see the solar farm that has been constructed over by the Epcot Resort area. Now this is about 20 acres. It is from Duke Energy. Disney signed a 15-year agreement with Duke Energy to use and lease this land for this solar farm. And Disney will, of course, be using some of this energy. Now, a spokesperson from Disney did not know what percentage of the resort's power would come from the solar farm, but it is definitely going to help, and of course, it's always good for the environment. Our next stop is going to be Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. This is one of my favorite resorts at Walt Disney World. It's one of the original resorts as well. Only 2 of them opened up in 1971 with the Magic Kingdom, and that's this one here, as well as the Contemporary Resort. So this resort has a lot of history, and something really significant happened here. If you're a fan of the Beatles, then get ready for this. John Lennon actually signed the paperwork officially terminating the Beatles here at the Polynesian Village Resort. Now, the paperwork that had to be signed by George, Paul, Ringo, and John were to be done at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, which was right down the street from where John Lennon actually lived. So when he didn't show up, it was very surprising, and of course, it kind of ticked off everyone that he wasn't there to sign that, so it was not completed. Well, it turned out that he had gone kind of into hiding and went on vacation for Christmas here at Walt Disney World, and he was with his secretary, which was also his lover at the time, and they were at the Polynesian. They sent a lawyer out to hunt down John, and he found him at the hotel and took the paperwork into the room, and that is where it was signed. Over the years, there has been a lot of debate and research done on to find out exactly which room John Lennon was staying in when he signed that paperwork and was vacationing at the Polynesian. And it turns out he was staying in 1601 in the Samoa building. And this overlooks the pool, so when you're walking to and from the pool, you can see that room. And if you want to stay in a room that is part of pop culture history, then you would want to request 1601 in the Samoa building. It's stories and facts like that I love to learn about and tell my friends and family when I go out to the parks and when I go to the resorts with them. I love that kind of stuff. Now, on the other side of the Samoa building, there is a brand new and really cool looking pool area that is about to open up pretty soon. Now, I've never stayed at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort before, so I've never used their pools. I guess that lava pool gets really crowded, and this is going to be kind of like that pool where moms and dads can go and have a little bit of quiet time. It probably will still have children in here, but it's not going to have as many, I'm sure, because the lava pool, of course, has that really cool slide and also the new water playground area. So this pool is not as themed, but it's still going to have areas where you can get some soft drinks and food and just lay out in the sun. And I'm really excited about this. This hotel is fantastic. I love walking around here. It's beautiful, and I love the history behind it. And it's a really nice resort. If you ever do some resort hopping, if you just take the monorail around, then come here and explore. They have Dole Whip. Something I enjoy doing is walking from Disney's Polynesian Village Resort over to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. It's a very short walk. It's really beautiful. It's right along Seven Seas Lagoon. Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa opened up in June of 1988, but it's pretty interesting that when it opened up, it was not called that. It was Grand Floridian Beach Resort. The name changed to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa during the fall of 1997. The hotel occupies land that had been earmarked for an Asian-themed resort during the initial development of Walt Disney World in the late 1960s. In the comments below, what do you think? If this had been an Asian-themed resort instead of the Grand Floridian, would you want to stay here? Do you think that it's a better fit to have it be the Grand Floridian? Or do you think it would have been better to have the Asian-themed resort? Now let's head over to Disney's Contemporary Resort. As a child, this was my favorite hotel. I loved coming through here and taking the monorail through the center of the building. But at that time, I had no idea that there was a lot of history at this hotel. On November 17, 1973, President Richard Nixon went to the Contemporary Resort in the Ballroom of Americas. That is where he did an hour-long televised question and answer session with 400 people from the Associated Press. Now, that is where he gave the famous "I am not a crook" speech. And you can find that all over YouTube, and if you were around back then you probably saw it live on television. It's very famous, and that happened right there on level 2 in the Ballroom of Americas at the Contemporary Resort. Here's a tip for you. If you are a guest at the Contemporary Resort, you should not have to take those monorails unless you're going to Epcot. If you are going to the Magic Kingdom, you should always walk. It's only a 5 to 10 minute walk from the Contemporary Resort to the Magic Kingdom front gate. So it's always a lot faster, especially at night. When those parks close, the line for the resort monorail does get backed up, but if you're staying at the Contemporary, always walk to and from that resort. And speaking of monorails, Monorail Orange currently has a wrap on it, and that wrap is advertising the new Disney animated film Zootopia. So you can see here it has different characters from the movie, and this is only on Monorail Orange. I think it's pretty cool. I like how Disney does do advertising now for their movies on these monorails. I like that it's not done on every monorail, it's just one or two. But it's kind of cool, it's kind of clever to do advertisements on there, and they also are doing them on buses as well. And here's another tip for you. If you ever park at the Transportation and Ticket Center, and you park over in Scar, Hook, Zurg, or Jafar, when it comes to the Villains lot, you can walk to the Transportation Ticket Center monorails. It's a lot faster than waiting on the tram. So if you're okay with walking, it's not that far of a walk, and it's a lot faster than taking the tram. Now, if you park in Simba, Woody, Peter Pan, or Aladdin, same thing. Those are very close to the actual monorails, so there's no need to take a tram when you park there. Of course, if you park back in Cruella, Ursula, Rapunzel, and Mulan, that's kind of a distance, so I would take the tram there, but usually it's a lot faster to walk if you're parking in those other ones that I mentioned just a second ago. Well, that does it for this week's edition of Photo Finds. I hope all of you have a great week. Make sure you subscribe to Orlando Attractions Magazine. I hope you enjoyed my little tips and facts and history on some of our resorts at Walt Disney World. I love the history of parks and resorts. I think it's so cool. And if you have any cool stories, please comment below. I would love to hear them. I love learning about that kind of stuff. So comment below. I'm sure other people would love to hear it too. And I will see you guys next week. Make sure that you get out, have fun, and enjoy the parks.